broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. This edition of Gun Guy Radio is supplied by Alien Gear Holsters. AlienGearHolsters.com.
Welcome to episode 159 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. It's my pleasure to introduce you your guest host, Ryan Machad of Handgun Radio, and he's also the hostess with the mostest. Yeah, that don't work. Only 16 weeks left of my dreaded day job, and I'm looking forward to freedom. Back to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Jake. Welcome to episode 159 of Gun Guy Radio. I'm Ryan Machad, and we have a great episode lined up for you today. A couple weeks ago, I spoke with Joshua Waldron, the CEO of Silencerco, about how the company started, its culture and vision, the background behind their products, and how they're looking to grow in the future. It was a really interesting discussion, and I'm very thankful to Joshua for taking the time to speak with me, and hopefully you find it an interesting discussion as well. So with that, we'll head into the main topic, a discussion with Joshua Waldron, the CEO of Silencerco.
Do you shop on Amazon? How about your spouse? Does your mom? Does your company? Why not use the Firearms Radio Network's Amazon affiliate link next time you shop Amazon? Bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon or click through the Amazon link in the right-hand corner of firearmsradio.tv. Get it? Got it? Amazon it.
So we're into the main topic. We're joined by Josh, the CEO of Silencerco. How you doing, Josh?
Wonderful.
Really appreciate you taking the time to come on Gun Guy Radio and talk about what Silencerco is doing. So, how did Silencerco originally start?
Well, it started, it's just like any American dream that you would imagine. A couple of guys that thought that they had a better way to make a mousetrap and started in their garage. So that's what we did. We were disillusioned by the whole industry back in the time when we started, which was about 2008. We started, my business partner and I, Jonathan, he and I started buying suppressors, and they were subpar. The entire experience around getting the product was less than ideal as well, with customer service and the marketing and everything behind it. And then we finally ended up getting these devices from several different manufacturers, and they just really weren't what we wanted, what we were expecting, and what we were hoping for. And so, we started talking about creating a company based on the fact that, why don't we just, make products that, especially know how, but focus on customer service and marketing, because we both came from the art world as musicians, and I was an editorial photographer and he was a music producer, and we could really bring a lot to the table as far as creativity goes, and with customer service we could kill the market. Well, come to find out, we were actually really good at designing the most innovative and best quality suppressors as well. So, that's really where the fast success came from.
Now, what year did Silencerco start?
2008.
Okay, so, because, it was, like, myself at least, I noticed, back when I first started with shooting suppressors, there wasn't a lot of knowledge about them. Pretty much everybody that I talked to thought that they were illegal and just didn't think that they were available, and you had to have them if you were an assassin, and that was it. But there are so many misconceptions out there, and so I'm assuming that kind of played into to starting the company. Now, what sort of challenges like that did you guys face when it was started? Was it more educational or more like figuring out the machining and what techniques to use?
Yeah, so you can learn everything that you need to learn to do whatever you need to do in life pretty quickly when there's no barriers to entry. You can learn how to machine by picking up books and, actually touching buttons, and it's very easy. I wouldn't say easy, but there's nothing keeping you from doing any of that stuff other than your own ambition. So that part was relatively the easiest part for us. The biggest hurdle, the biggest barrier to entry was the education part, as you mentioned. It was the getting people to change their mind about what silencers actually are, and we still have that problem today, and which is why we're launching the big Fight the Noise campaign this year. So, we really focused heavily on the education and advocacy part of our marketing. In fact, for the first few years, I didn't spend any marketing dollars other than like brochures or catalogs for my stuff and a website. Every other penny for marketing went to education, and that came about because really this company started and exists because one day we were shooting, and I pulled the trigger while I was hunting, and my ears rang really bad. And in fact, they've never stopped ringing. It was just one trigger pull really caused irreversible tinnitus, which is ringing in your ears. And so I started thinking about, well, how do we make guns quieter? Well, silencers have to be illegal. And I was the guy that shopped at black gun stores all the time, like where they sold silencers, and even I thought that they were unattainable. And so, what better place to put your marketing dollars than to educate the entire country, the shooting sports industry, that these are common sense products that protect your hearing, reduce recoil, make the shooting experience better, and they are in fact legal, and they're relatively easy to get. With obviously there's red tape and hurdles that you have to go through with the Form 4 and the tax stamp and the waiting period and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's pretty easy. So, and that's really where we focused our marketing dollars.
And it's kind of unfortunate. You often see a parallel drawn with Europe, where people say, suppressors over there aren't. I mean, obviously firearms are very heavily regulated, but suppressors, comparatively are not, because they're more of a, you're actually kind of looked at wrongly if you don't use one.
Yeah, we are far behind the curve in regards to the rest of the world, and that's because in 1934 there was ill-informed legislation that put a restriction on suppressors. There's a $200 tax stamp, and between Hollywood portraying it a certain way and them being very difficult to get. Back then, it was very difficult because $200 in 1934 equaled like $3,500.
Right.
In the modern age, $200 is obviously just $200. It's easy, and so there's been this perception of, well, they're illegal because people use them for nefarious reasons, whereas they've never been illegal in most other countries around the world, and so they've always it's just been, they've adopted them into everyday shooting, just like a car muffler has been adopted to a car. That's how they thought. So, even in the UK, where guns are very difficult to get, if you go out there and hunt stag or whatever it is that you're hunting in the UK and you don't have a suppressor, you're rude. And so, yeah, we're behind the curve on that for sure.
Now, kind of delving into the education, because I have a question about the education initiatives. What is the Fight the Noise initiative that you guys are undertaking?
Well, the Fight the Noise is really about, it's kind of a two-pronged approach. Right now, it's a protest theme of basically guns don't have to be loud. We, as a company, feel like guns are obnoxious when they're loud. So That's the first approach, is guns don't have to be loud, so we're going to fight until we have suppressors on all of them, right? The second thing is we have been suppressed as an industry by the government, and with egregious bullcrap laws that the ATF has put in force, and always continually trying to do things like the most recent examples with the M855 green tip ammunition. They do things that don't make any sense. They suppress our industry in about every way possible. Anything that they can do, they will do. And so this is another way to, grassroots advocacy campaign to fight the noise, that fight the big man, the government, to fight their restrictions on our product that just make common sense and protect your hearing and make the shooting experience more enjoyable.
Well, and it's nice to see, you have people will talk about, oh, you're never going to win that battle. You're never going to get even suppressors moved down to like an AOW type stamp, the $5 stamp, anything like that. Well, you're never going to win that battle. And it's like, well, if you educate enough people about the advantages of suppressors and that they aren't these big evil things that, cause guns to magically shoot people, then you're going to have enough people say, you know what, this actually is a good idea to have these, and eventually you will win that battle, but unless you try, you're not going to.
Yeah, and to those people that think that we won't win that battle, I urge them to change their way of thinking, because it's that type of thinking that makes it harder for us to reach our objectives. They have to look at the cold, hard facts, which are this. Since 2011, there's been 23 pro-suppressor bills passed in 13 states. That is not because these are devices used for nefarious acts. It's because they are safety devices that protect your hearing and reduce recoil and make the shooting experience better. That's why we've seen this go the opposite direction as the rest of the gun control world. Even the year of Sandy Hook, we passed several bills. I mean, these are common sense products. And, 10 years ago, if you were to think about, removing the suppressor from the NFA registry, that would be a massive pipe dream, and I would have laughed. But this is a possibility that is going to happen in the near future. And all it takes is people to change the way that they think about these things, and it will happen.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
How has the market shift in suppressors and suppressor technology influenced the path that Silencerco has taken over the past few years? Because it seems like suppressors, it was 4 years ago and there were just a handful of companies, and now there's a bunch, but Silencerco is like the one that you hear about when you talk about suppressors. Now, how has that kind of influenced the path you guys have taken?
Well, obviously we've led the charge with advocacy and with education. So we've been able to grab a hold of that market share and be the ones that understand what the market wants before most people do, because we have, we feel like we have the pulse of the on the industry more, better than anybody else. So we've seen a lot of shift from, when we started the company, it was a product that you bought after you already had 50 guns, and you had a bunch of optics, and you had a bunch of things that you already attached to all your guns, and now you were just looking for the next step, right? And so it was a very educated buying crowd, people that already spent a lot of money in the shooting sports industry. Now, we've seen it be, sometimes people get suppressors, and we're starting to see it more where they're getting suppressors at the same time as they're buying their first gun they've ever bought. So we've seen the trends change in what kinds of suppressors are purchased at different degrees. So it used to be where 22 long rifle was the most purchased, most bought product in the as far as caliber goes, and we saw that shift to rifles, and we saw that just explode, and that's because there's more people that shoot rifles for hunting and things. That hunting, the shooting sports, the hunting part of the shooting sports industry is the biggest part, whereas a lot of people were just buying the 22 silencers because it was like, all right, you get this one, it's the quietest, it's the most fun to go out and plink, varmint shoot and things like that. So, we've seen that trends change. So now that it's not like the guy that already has 50 guns and he's finally getting into suppressors. Now it's just everybody's starting to buy suppressors, and so you're starting to see the amounts of them kind of parallel the same amounts of, if you looked at the ATS stats to see how many guns are sold of each category group, it would be about the same ratio in the suppressors as well. And now we're starting to make products that are more geared for hunting, lighter weight, extra reduction of recoil, all the things that make hunting more pleasant. And we're starting to see a massive growth in those segments because of just that. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people going with the larger caliber guns too. I mean, like you said, back when suppressors first kind of came on the scene in more mainstream, everybody had a 22 suppressor. That was the one I saw the most often, and now you're starting to see more people getting them for their ARs, for their larger caliber rifles, for their designated marksman rifles or something like that in 308 and 223 and stuff like that. And the technology, the advance in technology has just been amazing over the past few years. Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, you would never see a suppressor on like a Remington 700 that has a pencil barrel and a polymer stock that's 6 pounds that, that you go shoot a deer with. You would never see that. And now you see that all the time. And mainly, I mean, you can attribute a lot of that to the fact that we've lightened the restriction on hunting with suppressors. It used to be only 22 states when I started the endeavors of introducing legislation, and now it's like 35 states. So that's why we've seen a lot of growth in that segment. But you would never see it. You saw it on 22s, you saw it on ARs, you saw it on handguns, and that was what all the talk was about. Now you're starting to see it on just standard hunting rifle with pencil barrels, and that's that's why we wanted to create like the Harvester series that has a really lightweight product that's inexpensive that every hunter can use.
Right, and I hear you there on the touching the round off without hearing protection, because I've done that myself, and it certainly does leave your ears ringing. So many companies like to talk about their culture, behind the scenes at the company, culture of excellence, stuff like that. Now, in your opinion, what is the culture at Silencerco, and how does that influence day-to-day operations?
Well, we've built the entire company on a few key aspects, and we call those pillars. And we have our company pillars that we have them posted all over the walls. And we have this week is, interestingly enough, this week is Pillars Week. So every day we have a little, in our break room, we have booths set up. We have guest speakers. We talk about all of these things. And really what it comes down to is innovation, customer service, education and advocacy, vertical integration. Vertical integration is really important for us. We do everything we make it all under one roof, and we don't outsource, and that really gives us a competitive advantage. So we talk about these things, and we really hold on to these traits about our company in all of our decisions that we make going forward, and it really does shape who we are. But There's a lot that we do as a company that, say, a Silicon Valley type of a company, a tech industry kind of company does, but more for our culture. Obviously we're not going to have a yoga class at lunchtime, but like Google does or something. But we take that kind of mentality where we want to keep people involved in work as much as possible. So we do things that make them want to think creatively and stay here for a long time. And so, we have a lot of fun here. We do a lot of things and get people involved. I mean, we have monthly concealed carry classes for all of our employees. It's free, and for all of their immediate family. So, and they're filled up every month. So, and we pay for that for them. We pay for NRA memberships for all of our employees. We have once a month barbecues. We do free Slurpee Fridays, where we actually bought Slurpee machines from 7-Eleven, and we have 4 flavors on taps free every Friday. So we do a lot of fun things like that, and it keeps people really engaged and thinking outside the box. And that's really what it comes down to. It's like we want people to think creatively. We want people to be happy and to innovate and to continually push the bar up so that our competitors can't reach us.
Well, and that's good to hear. I mean, there are some employers that that people, they come to work and it's a job and that's it for them. But when you can have people feel like it's not only their profession but their passion, they're going to be way more creative. And also having all your stuff under one roof, I mean, that's a problem that a lot of people will encounter, is they'll outsource certain parts, smaller parts, to different companies, and then they're scrambling to maintain QC on all the products, quality control, and making sure they're up to spec, whereas you guys have full control over that under one roof.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even down to our metal finishing, for example, we do all of our anodizing in-house, and we do better anodizing than anyone in the world. And it's really a simple recipe of why, and that's because we do gun parts. We do hard anodized black. That's all we do. We don't do type 2 anodizing. We don't do different colors. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We just so we set our system up so that we can get the best quality of that one thing, and we don't have to worry about any of the other riffraff that all these other companies that you would outsource to. And that was one of our biggest aha moments, is like, all right, we're having the biggest problem with anodizing. Let's bring it in-house. And when we brought it in-house and realized that we could do it better than anyone else we've ever tried, we understood that, let's continue to bring everything in-house. Let's do heat treating in-house. Let's do black oxide in-house. Let's do Cerakote in-house. I mean, we bring everything in-house. It's been really amazing.
And the best part is, if you ever have any problems, you can generally trace those problems right back to the source and fix them and nip that right in the bud, and not be sending products out to consumers that don't meet your standards.
Yeah, it's true. And part of our 48-hour guaranteed warranty is that we do everything in-house. So if anything comes in for repair, it gets repaired same day, if not, within a few minutes of it getting here. We put it in, we get it done, we get it shipped back out. And that goes a long ways. I mean, I don't know if you've ever sent a gun in to get fixed that you buy, but it could be 6 months.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It's ridiculous. And this industry is really interesting with how bad customer service is. It's just a simple recipe that, like, every other industry really understands well, but it's just common sense, but, not in this industry. So it's funny that that's one of our competitive advantages, but it is.
Now, I was specifically asked by someone who's a fan of your products, and I probably know the answer to this, but why did you guys go with the offset hole in the Osprey suppressor, for those listeners who don't know?
Yeah, it's a simple equation. If you've ever tried to, put a round silencer on a handgun that has enough internal volume to actually make it quiet, you're going to quickly see that your sights don't work anymore. All you see is a big round can at the front of your gun. So the Osprey was really designed so that you didn't have sight obscuration, so you could be able to continue to use factory sights. it's as easy as that.
Now, didn't the the original Maxim suppressor? Didn't that use a similar setup?
It did, yeah. We did not pioneer the idea of an eccentric silencer, but we did pioneer the ability to make an eccentric silencer that can index to any firearm. So the Maxim was, timed thread kind of a thing where it would go on one gun, and it would work because the threads would shoulder every the same place every time. But if you wanted to take this product and be able to time it to another gun, so that it orientates on the firearm the right way, and still have the mechanism to allow the gun to recoil. That whole system with the piston and the spring and all that stuff, it's called the booster. That was very difficult to understand how to design. That's why, that's why we don't have any people following in our footsteps, because, quite frankly, nobody else can figure it out.
And so, before we wrap up here, I got a couple more questions, but where do you see Silencerco going in the future?
Well, we're transitioning our company into, and this is not anything new to our future and our dreams as founders. My partner and I, when we started this company, we really wanted to be more than just a suppressor company. We love suppressors, and we thought that was a really good place to start, but we wanted to be something bigger than that. And so we are getting in, we are diversifying our offering of products. This year will be a very interesting year for people to, we're going to surprise a lot of people with what we're doing. We're taking the same formula of, thinking outside the box and creating things that people only dream of, and we're doing other things. We're getting into electro-optics, for example. So the future is pretty exciting, and I can't wait to see some of the reactions from the industry when we start launching products.
Now, I had seen on the blog page that there are some threaded barrels for Glock 19s coming out. Yeah,
that's true. We're eventually have a full line of threaded barrels for Smith & Wesson, for SIG, for Glock, of all models basically. So we're really pushing that, and the quality of our barrels is just amazing. I mean, that was another problem too. Is like we tried to go and buy some of these, and we have customers complaining all the time, like people can't provide quality threaded barrels. They're hard. They're never in stock. They're hard to get. And so, that just made us think, well, why don't we just make them? Because we can make them better than anyone else. We can make them, and we can supply them so that it meets demand, and, and they can have our logo on it. What's cooler than that?
Absolutely.
And so that's why we started doing that. And we've been selling them like crazy. I mean, they're bigger than I ever anticipated that it would be. And they're just extremely accurate, high tolerance, really good quality barrels. Ammunition is obviously something we're getting into more and more. We've got our next calibers coming out pretty soon. We've got a bunch of stuff like that. But, the biggest diversion this year will be with our electro-optics, our first product offering for that. So that'll be really fun.
Now, the Salvo 12, this is one got a lot of press when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
How has that been doing? And can you sort of explain a little bit the whole sectional design in terms of that?
Yeah. So, if anybody's ever shot a shotgun, they're going to understand that, like, the length of the barrel actually has a lot to do with the shotgun, how loud it is. So, if you have a 26-inch barrel, it's a lot quieter inherently than a 18-inch barrel, and so that was the whole thought behind being able to make it smaller. Is like if you have a shorter barrel, then you're going to want more length. But if you have a long barrel, you don't necessarily need all that length, so why not make it smaller and quieter, or smaller and lighter? So that's why we designed it modular like that. But yeah, that product has been doing extremely well. It's kind of a seeing is believing product, which has been a little bit of a hurdle, but it's picking up a lot of momentum. As people get them and actually start using them, then they start telling their friends, like, yeah, actually this is legit, because it just looks like it's a gimmick. And I mean, it's a good-looking product, don't get me wrong, but it just people's first reaction when they see it is, oh, that's cool, but like that looks big, it looks heavy, it looks unwieldy. But when they actually get one and shoot it and feel how much recoil it reduces and feel how light it is, and see that they can still use the bead on their barrel and all that kind of stuff, it's just, people are like, holy cow, this thing is awesome. And so they tell everybody that they know about it. And so we've really seen this product ramp up. It's been pretty fun to watch. It's building more and more momentum, but it is definitely selling like wildfire right now.
Now, in that sectional design technology, is that something that could be potentially transferred over to like your pistol suppressors?
Possibly could be. Where pistol suppressors are different. It's just a different kind of a psychology when you have a pistol suppressor. You want it to be as small as possible all the time.
Right.
So we just that's why another benefit for the Osprey is that it has more internal volume in a shorter package. And so, it's already really, really dang short, and it's hearing safe, and it's awesome. So we just really haven't thought a lot about doing that. So, you don't have, you're talking about just a couple of inches of difference between a full size and a compact. So,
right.
Barrel size. So it really doesn't change the volume of the firearm all that much.
So that about wraps up all the questions I had. Is there any place you'd like to direct the listeners to go for more information about the company or any of the educational initiatives you guys are doing?
Sure, yeah. So silencerco.com is our main website. Silencerserlegal.com is a website that talks about legalities and how to purchase these products. Please, be involved with the American Suppressor Association. That website is americansuppressorassociation.com. We really could use all the help we can get with funding our efforts, and then that's not a Silencerco deal. That's an actual trade organization where all of my competitors are on the board with me. So it's a good organization to be involved with. And the NRA is pretty awesome. So be involved with the NRA as well. So.
Absolutely.
And all the shout-outs I have.
All right, those links will be in the show notes, so be sure you go check those out. Josh, I really want to thank you for taking the time out of your day. I'm sure you have a busy one every day, so I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us about this.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure.
All righty, and that about wraps up the main topics. We will head into the wrap-up section.
Ballroom jeans, fire hose work pants, and long-tail tees are three favorites among the men of Gun Guy Radio. Duluth Trading Company has perfected the art of clothing the manly man. If you want manly comfort that's trusted by these gun guys, go to gunguyradio.com/Duluth and check out the other manly essentials Duluth Trading Company offers gun guys like us.
So that about wraps up our main topic. I just want to say thank you again to Joshua for coming on the show. It was a really informative and eye-opening discussion, and it was great to find out what makes Silencerco tick and what makes it such a successful and innovative company.
Gun Guy Radio says thank you and proudly displays artwork and graphics designed by Ryan Cross of Hunter of Design. hunterofdesign.com.
Hey, it's Jake here, just checking in here on Ryan, and I wanted to make sure that you're enjoying this episode of Gun Guy Radio. And if you are, please consider going over to patreon.com/gun. What is Patreon, you may ask? Well, Patreon is a simple way for you to crowdfund every episode of Gun Guy Radio. If you're enjoying the show, you can go over to patreon.com/gun and pledge either $1 an episode or $5 an episode to, throw your support behind Pro Gun Radio like this. And also we have some companies that are throwing their support behind Gun Guy Radio by giving some gift cards and gear to send out in random battle boxes that go out to only our patrons here at Gun Guy Radio. Alien Gear Holsters have given $25 gift cards. Works Holsters have given $25 gift cards. LA Police Gear has given some bags, and Duluth Trading Company has given $50 gift cards. Not to mention Duke Cannon Supply Company has also given field box gift packs of big-ass bricks of soap, and GunGoddess.com has also included $25 gift cards. You can get all that and more in a random drawing of our battle boxes that we send out to the exclusive group of patrons of Gun Guy Radio. So walk, don't run over to Patreon. Wait, I said that wrong. Patreon.com/gun.
Well, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of Gun Guy Radio. Please remember to subscribe to us in iTunes so that you never miss a show, and please leave us a review there as well, gunguyradio.com/iTunes. Also, please consider joining the NRA and also the Second Amendment Foundation. There are links there in the show notes. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network. This is Ryan Machad. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv. In a world where the mainstream media only talks about clips and ghost guns, where do you turn for accurate firearms news?
We know people like Ultimac rails, which, as far as I'm concerned, for gas tubes on custom AKs is a standard.
Live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central.
The magic of tracking point, I don't think, is the optic per se, because optics don't make you shoot better; they make you see better, right? But the magic of tracking point is that it separates stability from trigger control.
This Week in Guns has been broadcasting the truth for over 100 episodes.
Like, haha, idiot, not, haha, now you don't have a finger.
It's funny when you say it like that.
Yeah, that's both kind of funny.
Featuring the Full Auto News segment. Stories the real media refuses to talk about.
I wonder if there's anybody over there who likes firearms freedom like us.
ThisWeekinGuns.com or search This Week in Guns on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher app.